Today is January 10th, and today's quote is entitled Fault Finding. Just like Ravana couldn't give up his desire for Sita, even after his ministers told him it would be the cause of his downfall, it is difficult to give up fault finding, even though it brings no real pleasure. And what's worse, it harms our tender bhakti creeper. Fault finding is it's basically like mental sense gratification. It's also like ego sense gratification. Like it makes me feel like I'm great, I'm better, I'm one up on someone if I can put them down, which of course has nothing to do with humility, which of course has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, and everything to do with our conditioned tendency to want to be the enjoyer and controller and feel that we're better than others. The devotee, at least a pure devotee, feels everyone is better than him. So when we're trying to be Krishna conscious, we want to understand what is a proper behavior of a devotee. And even if we don't feel it, we're going to need to act that way, because by acting that way, we overcome the tendency to act in the opposite way. So if I'm not able to appreciate devotees, but I'm fault finding, then what should I do? I should be a little humble, act humbly. Okay, maybe I'm not humble, act humbly, appreciate, try to serve, try to see the good. We've all heard this a million times, but we understand the tendency to do it. It's very deeply rooted, but it's deeply rooted in this false ego that I am the controller, the enjoyer, I want to be better than others, and so forth. So, we have to deal with it, even though it's difficult. And so, in a sense, we have to force ourselves. Okay, I see faults in everyone. I have to try to force myself to ask, what's good about this? What's nice about this person? What is it that I could like in this person? Is there anything I can appreciate about them? Can I say something nice? Can I encourage them? Is there any way I could serve them? We have to try to overcome the natural tendency that we have as conditioned souls to want to find a fault in someone else to make my ego feel better, to make me feel like, you know, I'm good, I'm great. I need to feel good and great. I need to feel better than other people. That is obviously a problem, but we need to recognize that need. And along with that need, it makes it difficult for us to look at our faults. Because if we look at our faults, then we're not going to feel great. And since we want to feel great, it makes us feel great to not look at our faults, but to look at someone else's faults. Because if I can look at your faults, then it makes me feel better. If I look at my faults, it makes me feel worse. Although pure devotees look at their faults and feel worse and feel good about that. We look at our faults and feel worse and feel bad about it due to false ego, because the false ego is dying to be recognized. That's what the false ego wants. It wants to claim recognition. So fault finding is a huge problem. It's an impediment to bhakti because it's the wrong mentality. We have to cultivate the right mentality of a devotee, and if we don't cultivate that mentality, in little things, it affects big things. Fault finding a little devotee will spill over, fault find a big devotee. Fault finding a situation, I failed because of this reason or that. It's the fault of this person, or the car didn't work, or whatever. So we're never looking at our own contribution to the problem, because we're always looking at someone else's contribution, or some situation's contribution. So it just doesn't help. So try to understand all these things and do your best to, as far as possible, appreciate. And that will help you overcome the tendency to fault find. Simple, isn't it? You just have to do it. Hare Krishna.